So I wanted to show here what I've been doing in terms of trying to integrate Scorm resources generated from Articulate and integrated into Blackboard VLE. And there are two scenarios that I've come across. The first is where you have just a quiz maker from Articulate. So you have one quiz slide and you generate the Scorm resource from that. And the second is where you have a quiz slide within an Articulate presentation and you generate a Scorm resource from that. So I'm going to show the second example because it's the harder of the two examples. Okay, so I've made my quiz in QuizMaker, and there's nothing really to show there, so I'm going to go straight ahead and publish my resource. So I go to the Articulate tab and publish. And normally, obviously, you publish to the web and you're making a presentation, but now I'm going to publish to LMS. So I click on LMS, choose my properties and so on. So I've got the template, presenter, and so on. Now in LMS settings, we can choose Scorm 1.2 or Scorm 2004. Now this depends on your VLE. Mine is compatible with 1.2, so I choose 1.2. And then very importantly, in reporting and tracking, there are several options. So in the reporting tab, you can see here I've got a title for the course information, and then information on the LMS lesson. So the LMS lesson information and identifier, importantly, that's what's going to be fed through to the gradebook. So in the identifier here, I just use underscores just to make sure that that comes true. Okay. The duration is set by an hour by default. You can change that. And in Scorm 1.2, you can report the status to the LMS in one of four ways: passed incomplete, passed failed, completed incomplete, or completed failed. And I tend to use passed incomplete. And this has limitations because if, for example, in QuizMaker you set the pass mark to be 75%, students who don't receive 75% will be marked as incomplete. And sometimes that mark doesn't come true, especially when it's a QuizMaker within a presentation. It's usually okay when it's just QuizMaker on its own. Okay, in tracking, you can either track the number of slides, but that won't report the grade. So you have to track using quiz results. It offers you which quiz, so you can choose the one you want. And I have the passing score set there. As I say, that creates limitations later on. In Scorm 2004, I think you can track both slides and quizzes, and I think you can even track several quizzes, so hopefully that will become available soon. Okay, so that's everything here, so I'll click OK and go ahead and publish. So I'll just fast track through the publishing, and it'll create the pop-up window as before, where you can choose to view the presentation. Now I'm not going to view it because when I go to incorporate my Scorm resource into the VLE, it'll ask for a zip file. So what I'm going to do is zip this presentation. So I'll zip it, save it to my computer somewhere, and that'll be the zip file I upload when I am creating my Scorm resource. Okay, so I'll save that, and now I'll cut to my VLE Blackboard. Okay, so here's a course I have in Blackboard. It doesn't exist anymore, so I'm just going to use this as a toy. And I've got a Scorm option here in my menu. I'm in the Build tab. So within Scorm, I can create a new Scorm module. Type in the name of the module. This is the name students will see. Put in the author. Keywords, I guess, they're the kind of thing that would show up if you had your search tool activated, and the description is what the students see. You want it obviously to be gradable because you want the mark to come through to the gradebook. And within navigation controls, there are several options. I usually choose the last because Articulate obviously has several controls within it. I can browse for my search file, for my zip file, and here I have my zip file LMS. Okay, so I upload that and save it. Okay, so there's my Scorm module, and we can do the usual things with any content within Blackboard. We can hide it, set release criteria, and so on. So if I go now and pretend to be a student, so I go into student view, I see I have something new in Scorm. Click on the Scorm module. This menu, this window opens up. Sometimes it says it can't find the content. That's usually due to a slow internet connection. So I'll go straight to my quiz, and I'll just do this quiz very quickly. So I'm not even going to try here. Probably get everything wrong. Yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong too. That's definitely wrong. And I'll try and get this one right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so you can see here I've got 25%. So I'll finish that. That final slide obviously is what you've set in Quizmaker. Now if I go into the Teach tab, in other words the student's done the quiz, and now I go to the Gradebook. So within the Gradebook I've got several columns, but my mark isn't here yet, so I have to go into Scorm Grades, and you see there the Scorm grade column, that's the 25% I got in the quiz. So I want to report this to the students within their Gradebook. So if I go back into Grades and create a new column, I want it to be calculated because it's going to be calculated from the Scorm grades. And I would do this when I want to release the mark to students. Okay, and put in my parameters. 100 is the maximum mark. Obviously I'm going to release to students. Press save, and away I go. Now if I scroll across here, you'll see I have a new column now called test module, and I need to put in where the mark's going to come from. So you see I have my Scorm data there. Click on that once and it enters into the calculation box. Press save, and now the student can see, you can see in the Gradebook the student has 25% associated with it. Okay, so if I go and be a student again, go to my grades, and you see there I've got 25%. One last thing I suppose to think about is as a teacher, if I go back into the Teach tab and go to my Scorm grades, I can run a Scorm report, and this just tells me how students are interacting with it. So it gives a lot more information than the ordinary web courses report. So here's the student, it'll list all the students, their status there. Now obviously incomplete means that they have completed it, but they just haven't got over the passing grade because it's the pass mark was set as 75%. The score they get is 25, and the total time they've spent on the resource is just over 30 seconds. Okay, so there are my thoughts on Scorm, Articulate and Blackboard.